As nice as it is attending lectures in your pajamas, returning to in-person classes is definitely busier, but so much better.
I think if I could go back to the beginning of 2021, I'd say to just calm down and to stop taking myself so seriously, that all the things that I was super stressed out about at the beginning of the year would resolve themselves by the end.
If I could go back to the beginning of 2021, I think I would tell myself that not everything's a competition. That's something that I really learned this year, especially in the history department, that your peers and classmates are there partly so that you can collaborate with them, and it really enriches the academic experience.
I would tell myself to slow down and enjoy the little things. This year's been like the busiest year I've ever had, so just appreciating small moments.
The most surprising experience of 2021 was receiving the Marshall Scholarship. It's related to the history department, of course, because the only two of my UA recommenders were both from UA history and have been instrumental to my growth as a scholar, which I hope has made me befitting of the award.
The most memorable experience, hands down, has to be taking oral history interviews for Dr. Giggy and Ms. Garrison's Southern Career History class. It's been really great to connect with a local member of the Tiscus community and just really learn about their history firsthand.
My most memorable thing was when I was able to host the first ever Undergraduate Historical Society Research Conference. I think my most memorable experience with the history department this year was during my 4:30 my seminar. I'm taking Dr. Coppin for that course, and we actually came here to Morris Springs for our last class and sat in a circle outside and kind of just talked about all of our different projects and what we were working on, and I found it something that really kind of united us as a group.
You should put a lot of energy into writing skills, more so than you would think, because the major is a lot more writing inclusive than most people really think that it is, instead of most people thinking that it's a lot of reading, which it is a lot of reading, but there's also much more writing than people would normally think of.
I would tell someone who's thinking of becoming a history major to go ahead and do it, because I was unsure about being a history major, but every class I fell more and more in love with the major, and I've had amazing professors and they've really helped me grow, not as just a student but also as my own individual person, and I'm so grateful for everything the history department has done for me.
There's a lot to the history major other than just intro courses like Western civilization or American history. In my time with the department, I've learned about revolutionary scientists like Albert Einstein, Egyptian pharaohs, and also lots of Henry VIII's unfortunate wives. So there really is a class for everyone.
So no matter what it is that you want to do in your life, having a history degree is only going to help you. For example, if you want to be a public health specialist, study the history of science and medicine. If you want to be an archaeologist, study ancient Greek and Roman civilizations. If you want to work in business, you could even study the history of capitalism. All that to say, you can really make your history degree your own.
I would have to say my favorite place to study is Oliver Bernard Hall with a bunch of my blunt friends. So many of them are also in the history department. I just love studying there.
So, jokingly, I will say that I start studying, or my favorite study spot is probably 30 minutes outside of my classroom in the hallway. But realistically, I spend probably around a couple hours leading up to the test each night in my apartment, in my room.
I'd have to say my apartment, just because I've been lucky that it's been pretty quiet in all the places I've lived, and so I can just concentrate on myself without people walking around behind me or anything like that.
Well, I do attend every football game as a member of the $1 Million Band. I'd have to go with gymnastics just because I love all the creativity that goes into their routines.
Listen, just this Saturday I was in Jordan-Hare. I would have to say Alabama football. Absolutely wonderful experience. With my heart, I lost a couple years on it.
My favorite Alabama sport would be the Crimsonettes. I know technically they're in the $1 Million Band, but I've had so many friends who've been Crimsonettes, and they put so much time and energy and effort into it, and they're amazing. So I love the Crimsonettes.
I think my dream job is to work for an international development agency or like a federal government sort of position that allows me to work at like the heart of sustainable development. So working with developing countries to find ways to develop economically while also not making them more suspects to the effects of climate change and environmental degradation more generally.
My dream job is to become a digital archivist at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C.
My dream job is an Army aviation officer.
I'd have to say probably contract lawyer.
My dream job would definitely have to be something that I would do in a museum, maybe working with some sort of artifacts or creating exhibits of some sort. I'm not too sure yet, but I definitely want to work in a museum space eventually.
A lawyer of almost any kind sounds really nice. But if I'm being entirely honest, working in a library is actually something that I've been giving a lot of thought to, and I kind of just love the environment of libraries.
I'm always on Team Robin Hood. Never Sheriff of Nottingham.
On the academic perspective, definitely like Robin Hood, because like the feudal sort of environment that Robin Hood was like set in was predicated on like a social contract that had like the landlords and ladies that Robin Hood like stole from, providing for like the farmers and tenants that they were sort of supposed to provide for. So the fact that those like peasants were starving in the first place represented an administrative and bureaucratic failure. The feudal system didn't have any checks and balances to kind of hold those landowners accountable. So Robin Hood was just sort of that check and balance.
Oh, Robin Hood, all the way. Fight for the little guy.
I feel like there's an obvious choice there, but somebody's got to be on Team Tax Collector, so I guess I'll have to take the sheriff's team.
Robin Hood, steal from the rich to give to the poor.